African cities are more exciting than you might imagine. If you're interested in enjoying a truly authentic experience that will change your life for better or worse, then you need to head on over to the beautiful continent. I'm a Nigerian YouTuber and traveler, and this video showcases some of the most exciting cities I visited in 2024. We'll start from my home city in Lagos, Nigeria, before traveling west to Accra, Ghana. Then we'll travel a couple thousand kilometers east to Nairobi, Kenya, before checking out the cute city of Kigali, Rwanda. That's not all. We have two wonderful cities in Benin Republic to explore, Ouidah and Cotonou. And if that's not enough, I'll take you to Kampala, Uganda and Lomé, Togo to show you a different side of our continent. It would be unfair of me to start this list with any other city but Lagos. I was born and raised in Lagos, Nigeria, and I had an idea that this city was chaotic, but I just didn't know how chaotic until I went to other cities and countries and I compared. Africa's most populous city is not for the faint-hearted. Neither is it the easiest for first-time travelers to the continent, largely because Nigerian visas can be quite cumbersome to get. But if you are in for a challenge and you want to see Africa at its truest, most undiluted form, then consider Lagos, Nigeria. Lagos is divided into two broad but often inaccurate segments. We have the island and the mainland. The island is more touristy, while the mainland is more residential. There are lots of places to visit in Lagos, such as Lekki Conservation Center, Nike Art Gallery, Takwa Bay, and if you come at the right time, there are concerts and events every single night. Why don't you subscribe to the channel and like this video before we proceed? It means a lot and supports the work I do out here. Next up, we have Accra, Ghana. I think I was 7 or 8 years old when I found out that Nigeria and Ghana did not share a border, and there was not just one but two countries between both countries. I found it hard to believe, and when time came for me to visit my first country when I became an adult, Ghana was the obvious choice. Accra is one of my favorite cities because it's quite similar to Lagos without all the craziness. It is also one of West Africa's most accessible cities for foreigners. Keep in mind that Accra can be quite pricey. I don't necessarily mind pricey, but sometimes I feel like the value you get in terms of accommodation might not be worth it. If you go to Ghana at the right time, you might be paying thousands of dollars per night or hundreds of dollars per night for accommodation that you feel like isn't worth it. There are lots of activities to indulge in. Definitely visit the national monuments in Accra, like the Kwame Nkrumah Memorial Pavilion, Black Star Square, and if it's open, visit the Accra Sports Stadium. Trust me when I say you will not run out of things to do in Accra, Ghana. Kenya is a country that I've always wanted to visit since I was a child. I grew up watching a lot of Nat Geo World, and that made me really interested in visiting Kenya. When I finally got the opportunity to visit Nairobi for a couple days, I realized that it is one of sub-Saharan Africa's most developed cities. The weather is also cool throughout most of the year, so if you are coming from a country with a colder climate, Nairobi might be ideal if you do not want to spend too much time acclimating. Nairobi is also East Africa's gateway to the world, in my opinion. I've visited a couple cities in East Africa and I feel like Nairobi is the quote-unquote economic capital. Admittedly, I didn't do as much as I wanted to do, and I plan to visit Nairobi as soon as I can, even if it's just for a layover. I have unfinished business there. Some of the activities you must indulge in. Wow. Nairobi is perhaps the only capital in the world with an actual functioning national park within its borders. Visit the Nairobi National Park, Sheldrick Trust, Elephant Orphanage, the newly opened Nairobi Illusion Museum, and much more. If I try to list everything exciting to do in this city, this video will be all about that. Next up, we have the beautiful and insanely clean Kigali, Rwanda. Low-key, Kigali might be my new favorite city on the continent. It always touts itself as Africa's cleanest city, and when I visited, I realized that Rwandans talk the talk and they backed it up with the work. Kigali is indeed the cleanest city I've been to on the continent. The vibe is calm and unmistakable. It's more laid back even for a capital, which is unusual in this part of the world. One thing I would say is, if I ever visited Kigali again, it will probably be for a couple days. Kigali can be a bit boring, especially after a few days. The laid back vibe might not be for everybody, but at this point in my life, I believe that's what I need. If you like to visit a different side of Africa, free from lots of the baggage that comes with visiting Africa, then Kigali is ideal for you. When you visit, ensure you go pay your respect at the Kigali Genocide Memorial. Check out Fazenda Senga and go out of the city to see what Accra Ghana National Park has to offer. Please consider supporting my work by joining the channel as a member, or perhaps you can choose to gift a one-time super gift. If that's a bit too much, simply subscribing and liking is an easy and free way to support this channel. Thank you as to do so. If you are looking for an African city off the beaten path, then Ouidah, Benin Republic is ideal for you. It's home to one of the largest slave ports during the transatlantic slave trade, and it has become a sort of tourist and resort town. If you visit Ouidah, ensure you go check out the snake temple and put a snake on your neck. Visit Ouidah, you won't regret it. While you are in Benin Benin Republic, you most likely land in Cotonou, the largest city. A couple things to do in Cotonou include visiting the amazing Amazon monument. I'm not a big fan of statues because I feel like they can be a bit vain, but this is one statue I make an exception for because of its symbolism. Alternatively, there is a graffiti project on the same road as the Amazon monument, and it's allegedly the largest graffiti project in the world, or maybe just Africa, who knows. If you combine Cotonou and Ouidah, you would have the time of your life. Kampala, Uganda is a city that changed my life for better and for worse, mostly for worse. I need to be honest with you when I say that I spent too little time in Uganda. I planned this country as a stopover between Rwanda and Kenya, but looking back now, I should have spent more time. When I was in Uganda for the 2.5 days, it kept raining randomly. I knew it was the time of the year, but it was so random when the rain would just come from nowhere. Kampala is perhaps the craziest city I've been to in Africa. That's not Lagos, Nigeria. Some of my friends that have been to more countries said that the only city that might be crazier than it so is Kinshasa, DRC. Would you believe it if I told you that within hours of being on the city, I survived a robbery? I was literally inches away from losing my phone while using it as a map to go across the city center. I think like 100 meters from their parliament building. That convinced me that I needed to leave Kampala immediately. I go back to my friends' house, packed my bag and left. Some of the activities you need to do while you are here is leave the city, go to Ginger. I learned that Ginger is where it's happening. And Entebbe is also like where the airport is. That was beaches and stuff like that. Lomé, Togo is a city that I transited through multiple times, probably more than half a dozen times, but I never stopped to actually explore. 2024, I said enough is enough. This year, I'm gonna stop even if it's for a night and see what Togo has to offer. Suffice to say that my experience in Togo could have been better, and I hope to also one day revisit similar to Kampala and have a better experience. But I would say that Lomé has a very coastal vibe, which is unusual for a capital in West Africa. It feels like a truly coastal city. Lomé is very close to the border with Ghana. If you stay in certain areas of the city, you might randomly walk into Ghana and have no idea. As mentioned earlier, I didn't spend enough time in the city, but I hope to go back there. I did enjoy indulging in acheke. I ate acheke for the first time in Abidjan, Cote d'Ivoire, and then I realized that this is like a delicacy across Francophone West Africa. I really miss the meal. Activities you must indulge in. Take advantage of the wide open and often free beaches. Yeah, lots of resorts springing up here and there, and have the time of your life with some of the kindest people I've met. Whatever you do this year, ensure you visit at least one African country. If you're an African or a non-African, or you're an African living outside the continent, visit at least one African country you never visited before. I understand that traveling through this continent is not easy. It's riddled with corruption, it's expensive. Once you go past all those issues, you discover an experience that will help you grow and change your life. Traveling through Africa helped me see the world the continent has to offer. Traveling Africa also helped me meet some of the most amazing people ever. Click the video on screen now. I made it specially for you. Until the next video, your friend from the Ukodo YouTube channel wishes you love, peace and prosperity.